أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And welcome to another one of your G1 classes, everyone. I hope and pray that today everyone is doing well. And jazakumullah to everyone for arriving to the class today on time. As always, we are going to start off our class with an opening prayer. So for that, I will request the co-host to call a student to the mic. Assalamu alaikum, co-host.
Wa alaikum assalam.
May I please have a student to the mic for an opening prayer?
Yes, can I ask G1798 to unmute their mic?
Perfect. G1798. Assalamu alaikum. Student G1798. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, no problem. May we please move on to another student?
Yes, can I ask G1478 to unmute their mic?
Perfect. G1478. Assalamu alaikum. G1478. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
That's good. I'm really good as well. Jazakumullah for asking. So, you're going to read out the opening prayer for me. Are you okay to recite the prayer on your own, or do you want me to help you?
On my own. Okay.
Okay, that's all right. You may start whenever you're ready.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, if you bear with me, I'm just going to pull out the surah. Here we are.
ربنا أتقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم.
Okay, well done. MashaAllah, very nicely recited. And do you want to read out the English for me as well?
Our Lord, accept from us, for you are Allah, all hearing, all knowing.
Perfect.
Al-Baqarah 128.
Perfect. Jazakumullah G1478. That was very nicely recited. Jazakumullah for coming to the mic. Take care. Allah Hafiz. So this was Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 128. So as you guys are all aware, today is a Friday, and on a Fridays we have our breakout room system in place. But as always, I'm just going to give you guys a quick run through of what you guys went through during the course of this week. So during this week, you guys, you all went through the rule of wasl, which is all to do with combining, and I will go through that rule just quickly again in a moment or two, just so that we can jog our memories a little. So you all went through the rule of wasl and exercise of Asmaul Husna, which is basically the attributes of Allah. Okay, in today's lesson, we are going to be practicing, the rule of wasl. And in your breakout rooms, your teachers may ask you a range of questions just to see how much you guys understand the rule. Don't be worried if you are asked questions. It's just to see how much you guys are understanding. And also feel free to ask as many questions as you guys want, because that's what we are all here for. We are here to help you. So if you've got any questions and you're called to the mic, feel free to ask them, yeah? But before we go into our breakout rooms, let's just quickly look at the rule that you guys covered during this week. Now, this week you guys covered the rule of wasl, and wasl basically means to connect or to link letters together. Now, when you're reading the Quran, you must have seen many examples where you would see a sakin letter, but the letters before it are blank letters, so you don't know if you're meant to be joining those letters to the sakin letter or not. For example, in this first example here, there is a lam sakin, which is highlighted in red for you. And normally what we would do is that we would join the letter before that with the sakin letter, right? But the letter before the lam sakin is a blank letter, which means that we're not able to join that letter with the lam. Now, in these cases, you always have to look at the most recent mutaharrik letter. Most recent mutaharrik letter. So the lam sakin will indeed join to the most recent mutaharrik letter. Now, for those of you who don't know, a mutaharrik letter is a letter which carries a stroke. Okay, so a letter that carries a stroke is known as a mutaharrik letter. Now, if we look at this first example in particular, there is a lam sakin, and obviously you have to join it to something. The whole role or the whole purpose of having a sukoon and a tashdeed or a shadda is to be able to join or connect letters together. So we will have to look at the letter before lam, the most recent letter, that's an alif, but it's blank, so we can't join the lam to that alif. Then we look at the next letter. That one is also blank. However, the letter before it is a lam, and it does have a stroke on top. It's got a fatha on top, so it's a maftuh letter. What does that mean? That is the most recent mutaharrik letter that the lam is going to join to. So when we are saying this example, we're going to say قَالَ الْحَمْدُ. Now, imagine this lam is not there. If we were just reading the first two letters, you will say قَالَ, and we will elongate the sound of the lam for 2 seconds. However, all the blank letters are eliminated whenever it comes to a sakin letter or a letter that carries a shadda or tashdid. In other words, a mushaddad letter. Okay, so in this example, the lam sakin joined with the maftuh lam over here, meaning that in between these two blank letters were eliminated, or we ignored those letters, we didn't recite them. Okay. Similarly, if you look at this example here, we've got a lam sakin, and bear in mind we have to join that lam sakin to the most recent letter there. Okay, but it has to be a mutaharrik letter. If you look at the letter before, it's an alif, but it's blank. What does that mean? That means that we can't join that lam sakin to this alif here as it's blank. It's not a mutaharrik letter. It doesn't carry a stroke. So we will look at the letter before that. And the letter before, again, is an alif, but it's blank. So that means we have to look at the letter before that. And here we see a vowel. And this vowel is blank as well. That means we can't join the lam sakin, this lam sakin here, to that vowel, this blank vowel. Now, if we look at the letter before that, we see there is a lam with a dhamma on top. So it's a madmoom lam. So it definitely is a mutaharrik letter. So in this case, we will eliminate these 3 letters in between, and we will join the lam sakin to this lam, madmoom lam over here. Okay, so when we are reading out this example, we're going to say وَادْخُلُوا الْبَابَ وَادْخُلُوا الْبَابَ. Okay, and here as well, they haven't really highlighted it here, but even at the start here, you can see there is a dal sakin. Okay, the letter before that is blank. That means we have to eliminate that letter. We're not going to be reading that letter. And the letter before that is the maftuh letter. In other words, it's got a stroke on top. And on this particular example, there is a fatha, okay, on top of the vowel. So the dal sakin is going to join to this vowel, maftuh vowel, or a vowel with the fatha. So vad. And as you can see, we totally eliminated this blank alif here in the middle. And just quickly looking at this example here as well. We've got a lam sakin again. Actually, let's look at an example where there is no lam sakin. Let's look at this example here, just to make things a bit easier to understand. Here, we have a sin with a sukoon on top, okay? And obviously, when you see a letter with a sakin or a shadda, you should be joining it to the most recent mutaharrik letter. Now, if you look at the letter before, it's blank, so we're going to eliminate that letter. It's not a mutaharrik letter. You look at the letter before that, it's a blank ya. Again, we will eliminate this letter as well. But if you look at the letter before the ya, there is a dhal with a kasra underneath. So it's a makthur letter, okay? Now, this is a mutaharrik letter because it does carry a stroke, Okay, so we are going to join the sin to this dhal. So this is how we're going to say it. الذي استوقد الذي استوقد. And you would have noticed that I eliminated the alif and the ya. Now this rule of wasl doesn't just apply to sakin letters or letters which have got a sukoon on top. This is what a sukoon is, okay? It also applies to letters that are mushaddad letters, okay? Or letters that have got a shadda on top, a tashdid on top. So looking at this first example here, you can see there is the lam mushaddad. So we are joining the lam mushaddad to something. As I mentioned before, earlier on, the whole purpose of having a tashdid, a mushaddad letter, or having a sakin letter is to join letters together. The rule of tashdid and sukoon is to join letters together. So we can see there is a lam mushaddad. We know we have to join it to a letter, but the question is, which letter will it join to? Now, obviously, in our head, we should know that it should be the most recent mutaharrik letter. Quick reminder, a mutaharrik letter is a letter that carries a stroke, okay? Fatha, dhamma, kasra, yeah? If you look at the letter before, it's blank, so we're not going to join the lam mushaddad to this blank alif. The letter before that is also another blank alif, so we can't be joining it to that letter as well. The letter before that, again, is another blank alif. It's got no stroke on top, so it's not a mutaharrik letter, and therefore we will not join it to the lam mushaddad. But if you take a look at the letter before that, it's a noon, a maftuh noon. In other words, a noon with a fatha on top. And indeed, in this example, this noon here is a mutaharrik letter. So the lam will join to this maftuh noon. And when we're reading out the example, we're going to say, Anallahu, Anallahu. And that is what wasl is all about, okay? So when you're thinking about wasl, you need to think about two things. Number one, sukoon and tashdid. We know we're joining letters together. And the second thing you need to think about is the most recent mutaharrik letter. Where can you find the most recent mutaharrik letter? And obviously you need to know which letters you're eliminating in between, okay? So those letters are there, but obviously we don't read all the letters because the blank letters do in most cases get eliminated. But that is just to do with the rule of wasl, okay? Now, having said this, just a quick question, breakout room coordinator, are we ready to open up the breakout rooms?
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, we are ready. I'll open them now.
Perfect, that's great. So if everyone can now enter the allocated breakout rooms, you should get a pop-up on your screen asking you to join a breakout room. Make sure you accept that invitation and enter your allocated breakout rooms. It should be coming anytime now. Okay, so you should have got a pop-up now. Please make sure you enter your allocated breakout rooms. Jazakumullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
All breakout rooms are closed now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, enter the main session. Jazakumullah, enter the main session. So are they all here now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Jazakumullah for that. Now I had a question that a student asked me today, and they said, why are we not elongating letters rather than just joining them? For example, in this example here, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. Now, if you ignore this part, oops, sorry, I highlighted all of this. If you ignore, okay, I can't highlight it, but if you ignore this part here, and you just look at the kaf and the alif, initially we should be elongating it. Initially we should be saying dhalika, because there is a blank alif and the letter before has got a fatha, okay? However, this is just a good way to remember it. Whenever you see a sukoon or a shadda, a sukoon is this little hook sign here, and a tashdid is basically, if you look at this, it's got a little W sign, that's a tashdid. A sukoon and tashdid are basically two signs that join letters together, okay? Now, if you imagine these letters are powerful, so just imagine them being powerful in your head. Whenever you see a random letter with a random blank letter, or any letter that's just got a fatha on top, those letters are weak compared to the shadda or the sakin, okay? So it's like building a hierarchy in your head. For example, a tashdid is stronger than a letter of sukoon, a letter that carries a sukoon. And we know that because when we're reciting a letter that's got a tashdid on top, we put pressure on it. So we say fatha, okay? But it's just a way to remember any letter with a sukoon or tashdid, just think of them as strong letters and they will take over, all right? For example, in this example here, even though we should be elongating the kaf, the lam has got a sukoon and so it's stronger and it will take the lead, okay? Same here, we've got a sheen with a shadda on top, right? Even if you were to elongate this lam because there is a vowel, because there is no sukoon on it, we can't do that. And anyways, there is a shadda, so it takes the lead. It's stronger, okay? So you just have to sometimes think of you're joining letters together and all the blank letters in between, you should leave them out and join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter. And for those of you who don't know already, a mutaharrik letter is a letter that carries a stroke. Now, in my breakout room session, I noticed a lot of people were able to apply the rule, but they were not able to explain what the rule was. And I know at your age, it's hard to explain the rule, but just listen very closely to the terminology we use. When we say lam sakin, what do we mean? When we say ra mushaddad, what do we mean? Or when we say a mutaharrik letter, what do we mean? So a good way to help yourself with that is if you make a little list of keywords, for example, mushaddad or mutaharrik letter, and write a definition as to what it is, that will help you a lot, okay? And that way you will be able to understand the rules in a bit more depth. When I'm saying lam sakin, you wouldn't be confused about it. But I am happy with your recitations overall. I just want you guys to focus more on the rule itself. You are able to apply it, but be able to understand the rule and actually explain it using the proper terminology as well. Yeah? Having said that, let's take a look at our homework quickly. Now, the homework is to continue to practice anything that you haven't done yet. We've covered so many rules, and it would be hard for you to learn new rules over and over again, you know, without having revised anything prior to that. So keep revising, keep practicing. That helps you remember rules for longer. And also finish off all the exercises bit by bit. So start from the top again and work your way through, okay? That's the best way to learn. And if you make mistakes, that's absolutely fine. As long as you're learning from the mistakes and as long as you're trying hard, that's all that matters. Now, today we're going to conclude off our class with a closing prayer. So for that, if I can request a co-host to call a student to the mic, please.
Yes, can I ask G1 815 to unmute their mic?
Perfect. Student G1 815, Assalamu alaikum. Student G1 815, Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today? Okay, student G1 815, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So student G1 815, do you have 2 Zoom classes on at the moment? Or do you have a sibling that's attending the class with you? Okay, that student's muted now. That's right, student G1 815. I think we've got 2 devices together that are attending the same meeting, and that's why we hear this huge echo. Inshallah, we'll call you to the mic next time, but I think I won't be able to ask you to call to recite the closing prayer today, as there's too much echo going on in the back. I'm very, very sorry about that. Can I please have another student to the mic, please, co-host?
Can I ask G1 549 to unmute their mic?
Perfect. Student G1 549, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing today?
Good.
Alhamdulillah, that's good to know. Now, do you want to start with the Arabud and Tasmiyah? And would you be able to recite the prayer on your own, or do you want me to help you with it?
I'll try.
Perfect, that's great.
Oh,
If you start off with the Arabud and Tasmiyah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم ارحمني بالقرآن العظيم واجعله لي إماما ونورا وهدى ورحمة.
Perfect. So when we're pausing at the end, we're going to say wa rahmah. Can you try saying that for me?
ورحمة.
Perfect. Well done. Mashallah. Very nicely recited. And do you want to read out the English as well for me?
O Allah, have mercy on me through the Quran, the Great, and make it for me the leader, the light, the guidance, and the mercy.
Perfect. Well done. Mashallah, that was beautifully recited. Jazakumullah for coming to the mic today, G1 549. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz. Okay, so that was it for today's class. Student G1815, I'm very, very sorry for not being able to listen to your closing prayer. Inshallah, we'll try and call you next time. But Jazakumullah everyone for coming to the class today. Make sure to try and incorporate what I said today about being able to use the right terminology and going over the rules as much as you can. And inshallah, if you do so, if you practice as much as you can and you go through the rules regularly, inshallah, this will be a walk through the park for you. It will be very easy. So just do that for us, and inshallah, you'll get there very, very soon. I hope to catch you guys in another class soon. Until then, take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.